we have some kids that have been working very hard on a play for you, and I think it's just time to make it happen. So parents are going to be tripping in. Don't let it bother you. Welcome, you guys.
Welcome, family and friends. We would like to welcome you to our 4th grade Patriotic program. Around the room are biographies that we did about famous people who did extraordinary things to improve and impact our country or world. We hope you like them. Today we will be singing a few patriotic songs that tell the story of our great country. We will also be sharing with you some fun facts about a few famous Americans that are great examples of bravery and leadership and using their skills to make our world a better place. We hope you enjoy our show.
George Washington was our country's first president from 1789 to 1797. But did you know that when he was young, he was a map maker and measured land boundaries? He was known as a surveyor and was really good at math.
As Washington got older, he was a brave general of the Continental Army who led Americans in the American Revolution to defeat the British so that the early colonies of America could be free from the British rule. After the war, he was elected our country's first president and is often called the father of our country. Thank you, George Washington, for your leadership.
Yay!
Abraham Lincoln was our country's 16th president from 1861 to 1865. But did you know that Lincoln loved to read? He was also a lawyer when he was a young adult. Lincoln led our country during the Civil War.
This was a hard time for our country as the North and South states about fought against one another. Lincoln led the North Confederate States to victory over the South states in a long battle.
This law freed in all the southern states. During the war, Lincoln made the Emancipation Proclamation. This law freed slaves in all the southern states. Lincoln worked very hard to end slavery everywhere in our country. Lincoln was a brave and strong leader. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln, for your bravery and leadership.
Betsy Ross.
Betsy Ross was a great seamstress in the 1700s. She made things like curtains, tablecloths, and rugs. She had her own sewing shop in Pennsylvania. It is believed that George Washington asked Betsy Ross to sew the first American flag.
He showed her a picture of a flag and it had red and white stripes with 13 stars on it. The 13 stars were for each colony that the first made up American. Betsy then took a picture and created the flag from cloth. Today, people aren't sure that she actually made the first flag, but the legend of Betsy Ross is still with us.
No. Don't start singing. Just stand up. Stand up.
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or brag. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Yay! All your parents are holding awesome cameras and stuff. That's why they can't clap for you. You're so cute.
I don't think
Tell me how you said everyone. Crisscross applesauce.
Benjamin Franklin was one of the American founding fathers, a great writer and inventor. When he was young, he wrote and published his own newspaper. He wrote a book called Poor Soldier's Almanac, which gave people help with how to farm, fix things at home, and helpful sayings like a penny saved is a penny earned.
Franklin's best writing came when he helped the Declaration of Independence, which gave Americans freedom and liberty. That's cool.
Our country is founded on the ideas of the Declaration of Independence to this day. Franklin also invented the bifocal glasses and the iron stove and the lightning rod, which helped us understand electricity. Wow! Thank you,
Benjamin Franklin, for your leadership.
Very good.
Yay!
Nice clear voices. Keyshawn and Keitha Arsta, George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver was one of the greatest teacher-scientists ever born. Carver's mother was a slave. Soon after Carver was born, slavery ended. Carver grew up on a farm. He was taught how to read and write. He loved to learn. He went to school at college in Iowa. So,
Carver?
Carver was a good music and art, but he loved plants. So he went to college and studied how to farm. After college, he became a teacher at a college in Alabama. Carver taught farmers in Alabama how to take care of the dirt in their cotton fields by planting cotton one year, then planting peanuts or sweet potatoes the next year. The peanuts and sweet potatoes helped the dirt stay healthy so that the cotton would grow better every other year. Carver also loved to experiment in a science lab. He worked in a science lab and discovered and made more than 300 products from peanuts, like foods, medicines, and paper. Thank you, George Washington Carver, for your discoveries.
Yay!
Birthday bars.
50 stars, it's the grand flag that waves o'er the land of the brave. Colors free, flying free, symbols of our liberty.
Julia, Annie, and Alvin. Alvin.
Phyllis Wheatley was the first black woman poet in the United States. She loved to read and write. When she was 8 years old, she was taken from her home in Africa and brought to Boston, Massachusetts to be sold as a slave. John Wheatley bought her as a slave for his wife. The Wheatley family treated Phyllis very nicely.
They taught her to read and write in English, Greek, and Latin. She began to write poems at the age of 14 in 1773. Phyllis traveled to England with the Phyllis family.
She wrote and published a book of poems in England and became very famous. Everyone loved her poems. When she returned to America, she was freed from slavery and a famous writer.
Thank you, Phyllis, for your example of your hard work and determination.
Very good.
Big words. Rosa Parks. Eliza, and Kika Swati.
This is so scary.
It's great.
Did you know that Rosa Parks changed the world in just one day? Rosa grew up in Alabama. She lived in a time when African Americans did not have the same rights as white people. African Americans had to go to separate schools, churches, restaurants, parks, and even give their seats up on a bus for a white person. One day in 1955, Rosa was on a city bus and a white man wanted her seat. She said no. So she was taken to jail and had to pay a $14 ticket. Rosa refused to pay her ticket. She wanted the unfair laws changed so that African Americans and all whites could all ride the bus together and sit in any seat. Finally, in 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court changed the laws so that African Americans did not have to give up their seats to anyone. Rosa Parks was a brave woman who stood up for equal rights in our country. Thank you, Rosa Parks, for your courage and leadership.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson loved sports. He was a great athlete. He loved to play football, basketball, and baseball. When Jackie was out of college, he began to play baseball in an African American baseball league. He was not allowed to play in the major league with white baseball players. But in 1945, Jackie met a man named Brian Rickey. Rickey ran a team in the major league called the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he liked Jackie a lot and wanted him on his team. In 1947, Jackie Robinson began playing baseball in the major league for the Dodgers. He was the first African American to play in the major league. Many people tried to discourage and get him to quit, but Jackie worked hard, and 2 years later he became the most valuable player in the league. Jackie stood up for himself and didn't let people discourage him. Because of Jackie, African Americans and all other nationalities can now play in the major league sports.
Thank you, Jackie, for your courage and determination.
Very good.
Armstrong, Darsh, Helen, and Arch.
Neil Armstrong was the first person to walk on the moon. Before Neil became famous, he loved to fly. He took his first airplane ride when he was 6 years old. He got his pilot's license and began to drive airplanes when he was 16. He built model airplanes and even a small wind tunnel for conducting experiments when he was young. When he was older, he became a Navy fighter pilot during the Korean War. In 1962, He joined NASA, the U.S. department in charge of exploring space. In 1969, Neil and two other astronauts flew to the moon. Neil became the first person to walk on the moon. He even placed an American flag on the moon that are still there.
That was just 44 years ago. People watched him do this on TV. And when he took his first step on the moon, he said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Neil and his astronaut friend led the way to many more space missions for America. Thank you, Neil, for your courage.
Yay!
Ready, guys? 3
Cheers for the red, white, and blue. 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue. The flag of America forever. 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue. Rah, 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 cheers for ma.
Sally Ride. 2 friends.
Sally Ride. Sally Ride was the first American woman in space. When she was in college in 1977, she read that NASA was searching for scientists to do experiments in space. Sally was studying astrophysics since college and she wanted to be a space scientist. She applied for the job and she was one of 35 people out of 9,000 that applied to get the job. Wow! She worked hard in NASA and joined the crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1983. When the Space Shuttle blasted into space, Sally became the first American woman to travel in space. She performed experiences and helped set up 2 space satellites. She was in space for 6 days. Sally has written several books about her space experiences. She has inspired many young girls and boys to study science and math. Thank you, Sally, for being such an inspiration.
Francis Scott Key. Sean, Ben, Emily.
Francis Scott Key wrote the U.S. national anthem in 1812 during the War of 1812 against the British. Francis had been captured by the British and held on a ship. During his stay on the ship, he watched the British Army bomb an American fort called Fort McHenry in Baltimore, Maryland.
He was worried that the Americans would give up and lose to the British, but the next morning Francis saw a giant flag flying above the fort. Fort McHenry had not given up. Francis was so happy to see the American flag that he blew a poem about what he saw, and the poem was later put to music. Today, the Star-Spangled Banner is our national anthem.
Thank you, Francis Scott Key, for creating this beautiful song.
All right, good job.
Yay!
Okay, so we get to practice the Star Spangled Banner for our families. Come on in. Hard song. Make sure you start at the right spot. Oh.
Okay, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose blood stripes and bright stars through
so you are not here.
Thank you for coming to our first grade patriotic presentation.
We hope you enjoyed our show and learned some interesting facts about a few great Americans.
We enjoyed singing and sharing with you.
Have a great rest of your day.
That's right. Let's give it a